what is your take on this whole Brady Peyton to the Dolphins angle that reportedly blew up after Brian Flores?
It's tough to know. I know from my side, I kind of heard that there was maybe reaching out through back channels just to see. There was never really an official reach out to see if they could talk to Sean after he retired. And at the time, I don't think the Saints were immediately interested in that. He said he didn't want to coach, so he wasn't coaching for the year in their eyes. So that's kind of how I heard that played out. But it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, I think, especially from the Brady standpoint, it looked very much like he didn't want to be there. And I know everybody can run the spin and have all the reports and everything that says, hey, Bruce Arians and Tom Brady didn't have, there was nothing there. Bruce just suddenly wanted to step away and decided it was time. I would probably put my money on Brady wanting that to happen. And look, I understand you got to report what you got to report, but you can report stuff with an arched eyebrow. And, I don't think there are a lot of arched eyebrows, and I think there probably should have been because, I don't know, from the outside looking in, it just kind of looked like that played out that way. So it wouldn't surprise me if Brady wanted out and if, Peyton was potentially interested in that situation. But like I said, everything I heard on this side was that there really wasn't like a super serious move to get him. And I don't think from Peyton's side that there was a super effort either. I think that he was really kind of committed to doing broadcasting for at least a year and then maybe seeing where things are
at. Nick, so what's the promo code? Draft season?
Yeah, one word.
Okay, all one word, draft season on New Orleans Football right now. 20% off that first payment. It's a great deal. Take advantage of it. And, the promo code is such because it's draft season. Saints recently make a deal. They get those extra those extra picks in the first round this year. I cannot fathom a world where the Saints bundle these picks and move up, right? It just feels like they have to try to get volume here. Are you hearing anything differently?
I do not buy the reports that they're going to move up for a quarterback. I don't think that's the thing that's going to happen. People lie to you all the time this time of year, so I say that with an arched eyebrow, but that's kind of what I've heard is that they aren't going to do that, and I do believe it. You got to trust where your information's coming from sometimes, and this is one where I'm kind of thinking it's not going to happen. I just don't think that they're smitten with either one of these guys enough to make that type of move to put all those draft resources into selecting one of them. If one of them was maybe there at 16 or 19, if Kenny Pickett's sitting there, I wouldn't be surprised by a pick like that. But I don't think that there's going to be an aggressive pursuit. And there's a few things here. Like, yeah, one, I understand the idea of like building around Jameis, giving him the best shot of being successful and everything. And we've talked about it for 2 years now on the show every Tuesday about how we think Jameis can potentially develop into being a good player. So this isn't a commentary on that. It's just 4 weeks ago they were willing to take the biggest PR hit in NFL history to get a different quarterback here. And what has happened since then in the draft? Nothing. There's no games played, no practices, nothing. So if they felt they could have a better quarterback 4 weeks ago, there's still the door's still open for possibly wandering eyes to set somewhere else and bring in a player that could potentially be the 10-year quarterback for this team. So if one of those guys is there, I could definitely see it. I think the goal though going into it is wide receiver, safety, offensive tackle with those first three picks, three biggest holes on the team, and I think that they would prefer to find a way to solve those. But if they like one of those quarterbacks in one of those spots, and, I even think at 49, Sam Howell could be a possibility. So I know they're doing their homework on this class. I just don't think that there's anybody where they aggressively have to have them. But if someone's there, yeah, possibly.
And with the depth of this draft being offensive tackle and receiver, obviously, you have two picks there, Nick, where you can get both those players and get really good players at 16 and 19. So I'll ask you this. Is there a player, though, I'm not talking quarterback, I'm talking any player that you could see them moving up in the draft? Would they package those picks if there was a tackle or receiver that they felt like was worthy of that pick, or do you think they'll stay pat because it is so deep?
Possibly I could see a tackle. Petting's kind of the fall-off point there. And after that, I think that, maybe you're maybe gambling a little bit more on getting someone that can come in and start right away. So I could see that there. I think at wide receiver, though, there's enough depth there that I think they're going to be fine
Yeah.
sitting where they're at. And you know, even in the second round, like if you end up with like Mechie or something, if you got to move up a little in the second, that's even a little bit cheaper just to make sure you get your guy. You know, it's not going to be Chris Olave if you don't get him, you know, in the first round. But those second round guys, I think, could still be really good. And yeah, I mean, I think where their weaknesses are kind of lines up with some of the strengths of the draft. Even safety, you know, the Penn State guy should be there in the second round, and I think he's a really good fit for some of the stuff they do. So I think they're going to have the options to address a lot of these things. But yeah, if there was one spot, I think it's probably. But look, I mean, you don't want to like miss out on getting that wide receiver either. Like wide receivers, like all of a sudden the top guys are getting paid more than the top cornerbacks, the top you know offensive tackles. It's like suddenly the number 2 positional value in the NFL. So I think you have to address that through the draft. And look, if you could swing the bat twice, like I would swing the bat twice at that position somewhere in the early rounds just to get that pipeline going, because like it is like all of a sudden a spot where you got to spend $20-30 million. Look, like Russell Gage is $2 million per season behind Mike Thomas.
Yes,
like, out of
Christian
nowhere.
Kirk and Russell Gage is crazy.
Never had 1,000-yard season. It's just like, what's going on? So I think you got to get young players in there and kind of build that position through the draft, because you need 3 or 4 of them. So like paying one guy a wide receiver $30 million, like it's just, you can't build a team like that. So you got to draft. So I would. You know, for me, like going into those 3 positions, and I would double dip a wide receiver, and that to me would be like a really good job for this team.
Hey, real quick, last one for me about the draft. Tight end's still a position of need, in my opinion, for the Saints. I know you have Troutman. Troutman's best work has actually come in the run game. Is there a tight end that you could see maybe being selected in the second round? And do you think the Saints value that position that high?
This feels like a Taysom hate question here. You just leaving them off the.
Dude, I don't even know what position Taysom's going to play.
I forgot. We got Taysom, baby, tight end.
Yeah, I don't know what position he's going to play either. And honestly, like I think that, you know, in fairness to him, people need to let him prove what he can do instead of like having him be the symbol of overhyped, you know, just hate. Like it just turns into the hate for him when people overhype him. So I think it is a major position need. That and running back, I think would be like the second tier ones. I think, you know, tight end, you can go into the season and survive with what you have, but they definitely probably are not going to thrive at that position unless Taysom is significantly better than, you know, we kind of think he's going to be at that spot. And, you know, running back too, it's something else they gotta do. Like there's going to be a suspension at some point for Alvin most likely, and they got to be prepared for that outcome. And that's one of those things that I think could really turn the tides of the season. You know, if he's out 4 to 6 games, those are going to be 4 to 6 tough games, and they need to have another guy coming up, and you know, just simply to get someone developing behind Mark Ingram too, who's probably kind of at the end of his career, still effective. But I mean, how many years are actually left there? So I agree 100%. I think those are spots that they gotta do something. All
right, so quick little AK update right there. Real quick here, Nick, just like 30 seconds on the way out. Has there been any update on a Tyrann Mathieu pursual?
No, and the fact that he hasn't signed anywhere still tells me very clearly that the money he wants just isn't out there yet. So it's probably going to be a thing that plays on for a while. And you know, I think he's willing to wait to get paid what he needs to be paid to play, and that might take a training camp injury where somebody gets desperate and, you know, $9 million becomes 11 at that point or whatever it is. So nothing moving there. I think he's still weighing his options and looking for the money he thinks he should be paid, and I think the Saints should pay it personally.
There you go. I agree, but again, I can't be trusted when it comes to Tyrann because I don't care. I just want him. Go to NewOrleans.football. Use the promo code draft season right now. Get 20% off that first payment. Again, it's super cheap, y'all. It's like a cup of coffee a month, and it is so worth it. Not only to support independent, great journalism, but to get all those Saints information that you love so much. Nick Underhill at Nick_Underhill. Thanks, man.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, take it easy. When we get back, let's talk to the new LSU head basketball coach, Matt McMahon. That's right, McMahon making his OTB debut. And I know Jake's very excited here. We'll talk to Matt about what it's like taking over a team that literally is starting from, well, nothing, from scratch. Coming right back here on Off the Bench.